And we are back with another topic today. This is my second time filming this, so I'm going to keep it shorter than the first one because my device ran out of fucking room. The topic today on Jiu-Jitsu Life with Uncle Mike is how watching techniques online, like YouTube for example, can help improve your Jiu-Jitsu, and at the same time maybe how sometimes it can hurt some people's game. Anyways, I'm going to make this really quick because now I'm just impatient and agitated. So, what I was saying before it got erased was sometimes it's beneficial to watch techniques online. Well, it's always beneficial. It's always beneficial to learn something new, right? Especially if it applies to your game. So here's what the gist of the story is here. Let's say you train at a gym, which most of us should be doing anyway, or a garage nowadays. But let's say you train at a gym. Now, you know that your style or your game is closed guard. I like closed guard, or half guard, let's say, right? Well, this week our gym's focusing on, let's say it's focusing more on spider guard. So even though that guard does not necessarily apply to my game, I still need to learn it. I mean, sometimes we look at techniques and we say, I'm not doing that shit. Well, you might never do that shit, but someone might do it to you. So be aware of, once you're in, your body starts remembering where you've been, it's easier to escape. So going back to how watching your techniques online can help you is, again, so I'm a closed guard player. Well, this week we're focusing on hypothetically spider guard, right? So where it benefits you is if you know what your style is, you know where you tend to go. I mean, your body has made that decision for you, and a lot of you, if you don't know what your game is, just think about positions you always end up. Think about submissions you always finish with. It's not an accident. It's your body tends to favor towards it. Okay? So find ways, find different techniques, learn more about how to cut through it and get to that path faster, or find different paths to that position or different ways to that submission. So that's basically, the last video was so much better and so much longer, but again, I'm a little pissed now because it didn't work out and it got erased. But basically, just that's where it can benefit you. If you start looking at stuff online, towards your game, and sometimes, this is what I was saying before, sometimes you can find a technique. Let's say I like closed guard. So some instructor is going to show you a different technique to get to a triangle. So he starts in a closed guard, does a triangle. Great. Cool technique. I've already seen it. But what I didn't see before was there was a small detail that he barely even talked about. But when he closes his guard, he does like a little bit of a ham curl. He flexes his knees. Why does he do that? Because it keeps more pressure on their hips. So when they try to get one knee up to try to start posturing, you can use your weight to drive them down. So it's that little tiny ass detail. That little detail. And that little detail, you didn't know. So even though, yeah, you knew the triangle, but that little detail there, that just took my closed guard game even further. So when we look at techniques, we're like, well, that's a basic technique. Once you start really looking into stuff, there's no such thing as a basic technique. Just because you learned it as a white belt doesn't mean it's so basic. You could literally open up a school and just teach the basics. And what one guy did that took him 12 steps when he was a white belt, by the time he's a black belt, he could do it in 2 steps. He might be able to do it in fucking 1 step. And that's awesome. That's awesome. But now, then again, your style might be different. So that's why sometimes it's cool. Like if you're more of a creative jiu-jitsu guy, sometimes the gym you might go to, they're not really focused so much on that. That might not be their game. So do your homework. That's where it's going to benefit you. And that's what it's there for. It's a community and we're all helping each other out. Let's talk about maybe where it could hurt you. I don't think it can hurt you that bad. There's a lot of instructors that tell their students, we don't want you watching shit online. Whatever you're gonna learn, you're gonna fucking learn from me, or you're gonna go somewhere else and train. Well, that's really closed-minded, because no black belt has all the answers. No red belt has all the answers. In fact, you probably talk to some of the top red belts in the world, and they're still learning today. So we don't have the answers. We need a community like this that keeps on helping us grow, keeps us learning more. No one should ever act like they have all the answers, because nobody does. So where could it hurt you is if you were in the early stages of jiu-jitsu, where you really haven't even learned You haven't even learned the concept of where your grips should be, how to really control somebody. You don't even know really how to put any weight on somebody. And what happens is, I think, and I'm talking from my own experiences, you start seeing all these cool ass flashy moves, but what you don't realize, and this is where I say I don't think it's wrong to learn, but what's happening is you're learning a style that might not be your style. So what happens is, let's say, like I used to love looking at Cyborg's videos, you know, and how he would do like the tornado guard. He would invert underneath somebody. I was like, shit, man, I'm gonna try that stuff for days. You try it for a couple days, you're like, this doesn't feel fucking right, and you move on to another. I'm gonna try butterfly guard, and we're talking around the white belt area. I think videos are good when you're a little bit on your way out of the white belt, you're going into a blue belt. Blue belt's where you're going to collect all your techniques. By the end of your blue belt, you've shed off some shit, and you know what your game is. You've compressed it. And that's where really the videos will benefit you. That's where probably half the DVDs that are sold today, when you look at it and you're like, God, I'm fucking lost. When you're at like getting into your purple belt, that's one of those DVDs I feel like really, really benefit you. Because you know right now, definitively, this is my style. I can play any game of jiu-jitsu, but my backup plan is going back to my style. I always can fall back to my style. So even though I'm a closed guard player, I'll play De La Riva guard. I'll play just for fun. I'll play anything. It doesn't fucking matter. But in the end of the day, if I'm thinking, okay, I want to now impose my will, back to the closed guard. That's where I'm going to go. So anyways, I don't want this video getting too long because I don't want to bore you guys. So, jiu-jitsu videos online, DVDs, it's all good, man. You guys should be watching them. You should be watching as much as you can because you can never learn too much. That's like me saying, you guys got to stop reading. You've read enough books in life. Just stop it. Stop it right now. No. Where it might hurt you is if you're reading too many books and you still even learned how to read a third grade level. So, once you have your game on track, start focusing on some of these DVDs, start focusing on some of this other stuff. And then again, it doesn't mean it has to be locked in that way, because you can always study technique. You should be, because at least you'll be familiar when somebody tries it on you. You'll be familiar with certain positions. But that's really all I got to say about that. Thanks, Jenny. Alright guys, until next time, let me see if I got any smart-ass comments to make before I leave. No, we're good, man. Alright, until next time, holla!